The steentjie, Afrikaans for little stone, or to give it its proper name, Spondyliosoma emarginatum, is a rather nondescript little silvery fish. Here we have a steentjie, that's what the female looks like, and for most of the year the males as well, in front of a Hottentot. And you can see the shape is quite similar. They are both sea breams, so that's not unexpected. From a coloration point of view, we can see that there are faint yellow and blue lines along the fish, as well as an area in front of the eyes, which is yellow as well. During the mating season, however, things change. The males become darker and start forming these dark bars. The more senior the male, it seems that the more darker they get. In other words, the fish becomes nearly black. And this is when things become really interesting. The males start clearing a patch of reef or an area, a sandy area close to a reef, taking away everything down to the bedrock. And they start guarding this ferociously. Here we have 4 nests, and 2 of them are being guarded by one of those males. Being so close together, the males are always squabbling with each other because they are trying to attract the best mate. And other fish that come into the area are also chased away by the fish. It's a very fascinating behavior, and here we have a video which shows a male hovering above the nest, busily chasing away other males as well as other fish. Eventually, when the male attracts a female and she lays her eggs, these are shown as a mat of pale, nearly translucent little bubbles. If we zoom in a bit, we can see the actual embryos themselves as they develop. There's a tiny little fish, this yellow part is the yolk, and here we can see the fish in more detail. Now the males become even more aggressive and they start really protecting the next generation. The males are also incredibly good at keeping their nests clean. If, for example, a shell were to fall into the nest, the male will come along, pick it up and swim it away, sometimes actually remarkably far from the nest. This behavior is not fluke. If you put a shell into the nest, the male will come up and swim it away. Here we see it again, but when the male comes back, he decides that it's time to give the nest a bit of a clean, and it does that by swimming over it, vigorously sweeping its tail back and forth, which, if you look at it from the front, looks quite comical. I don't know how long it takes for the actual eggs to hatch. Unfortunately, we don't get to dive the same area regularly enough to see this happening, but after a while the nests are abandoned and the normal natural life takes over. I discovered this behavior a good few years ago, and I always found it very fascinating because there's no other fish in the Cape that I'm aware of that has such incredibly aggressive, beautiful mating behavior. And I also discovered by pure chance that when a shell falls into a nest, it is cleaned up. Now that you know about this, please do not emulate what I did by placing a shell in the nest, but rather stay a bit further away. If you get too close, the males get skittish and they may possibly abandon their nest. Their cleaning behavior, in other words the sweeping of the tail, is something they do regularly, so you're bound to see that, apart from obviously the squabbling between the males and the chasing of other fish as well. I just find it utterly fascinating.